Good morning, members. Welcome to the meeting of the panel on information technology and broadcasting. It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call the meeting to order. Item 1. Information paper, if any, issued since the last meeting. No such paper has been issued by the Secretariat since the last meeting. Item 2. Items for discussion at the next meeting. Professor William Wong, the Deputy Chairman, and I had a meeting with the administration in early February. We discussed our work plan for the 2026 legislative session. The items for discussion are set out on the list of outstanding items for discussion. That list has incorporated most of the ideas put forward at the first meeting on the 23rd of January. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 23rd, that's a Monday, from 8:30 a.m. The ITIB has suggested discussing the following item at that meeting, and that is promotion of the use of IM Smart. Are we all agreed on discussing this item for the 8:30 a.m. meeting? Good. Item 3. Capital Works Reserve Fund had 710 Computerization Subhead A007GX block allocation new administrative computer systems 2026 to 2027 estimates of expenditure. And now invite the government officials to join us. Members who wish to speak, please press the request to speak button now. This item has to do with a funding proposal. That's why all members of LegCo, including non-panel members, are invited to take part in the discussion. Under Rule 83A of the Rules of Procedure, members are reminded that they may not move any motion or amendment on any item where they have a direct or indirect pecuniary interest. Members may not speak either unless they disclose the nature of such interest. Members with any direct or indirect pecuniary interest in the item under discussion today should disclose the nature of such interest before they speak. We welcome the Undersecretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, Ms. Lian Cheng, and her team. We got officials from the Digital Policy Office. We will start with the opening remarks of the Undersecretary. She will take us through the paper, that is LC paper number CB bracket 2 177/2026 bracket 03. Over to you, Undersecretary. Thank you, Chairman. I'm joined by my colleagues from the Digital Policy Office. We're here to brief members on the Capital Works Reserve Fund had 710 Computerization Subhead A007GX block allocation new administrative computer systems for the 2026 to 27 estimates of expenditure. For this subhead, meaning A007GX block allocation, this is part of the recurrent funding arrangement every year. This subhead funds the administrative computer systems and system development of bureaus and departments. This is for projects, that is, information and communication technology projects related to digital government and smart city development. Over the years, different bureaus and departments were able to take forward various projects to raise the operational efficiency of the government and, more importantly, to improve the quality of public service. For example, we sped up access to services such as the registration of kindergartens. We also developed virtual services for people. For the 2026 to 27 financial year, we propose an amount of $2.7 billion for this subhead. This is for taking forward 684 projects from various departments and bureaus. I want to stress this. The DPO will have a professional team vet different projects thoroughly. There is rigorous gatekeeping. This is to make sure the projects are cost-effective and that public funds are properly used. That would be the criteria for our assessment. Over the past 3 financial years and also the first 9 months in the current financial year, meaning 2025 to 26, we had 841 projects on the list. But then with the gatekeeping and approval by the DPO, 399 projects have been shelved after such critical assessment. The budget we propose in the paper will cover two kinds of projects in the upcoming year. First, projects making up over 80%. The funding will be spent on 548 ongoing projects. These are projects that are either ongoing or projects with a green light to start in this financial year. This means when we apply for the sum of $2.78 billion, over 80% of that money will go into ongoing projects or projects due to start this year. And then roughly 20% of the funding will go into 136 projects that are due to start in the next financial year. As I said just then, the DPO will rigorously vet every single new project to make sure every one of them is fit for purpose. Now, for the funding covering 2026 to 2027, the projects cover a wide range of areas. They cover adoption of artificial intelligence, enhancing government efficiency, promoting the use of IM Smart and digital identity, corporate identity, as well as single portal for government services. For ongoing projects or projects due to start shortly, many projects are due for completion or close to completion in the 2026 to 27 financial year. At this stage, this is where those projects need the most amount of funding requirement. That's why there's a greater demand for the cash flow. And there's also a focus on rolling out more services to make life easier for people and businesses. We also want to step up cybersecurity. For that reason, the support from members is all the more important. The funding will allow departments and bureaus to adopt innovative technology to develop digital government services. Departments will also have the money to refresh their departmental systems and adopt new technologies such as cloud computing, big data analysis, as well as blockchain, in a continuous effort to enhance their I&T systems. The funding will cover efforts to improve cybersecurity and data security that will protect the government cyber systems from attacks and threats. The funding will also cover re-engineering of processes. This will bring quantifiable benefits, meaning we will be able to save manpower and save on office expenses. Since 2022, and this means over the past 3 financial years and the first 9 months of the current financial year, the new administrative computer systems scheme has covered 817 projects. The overall benefit amount to roughly $1.09 billion. The funding will help departments take forward projects each at no more than $20 million, meaning smaller projects. The funding is crucial to the government's efforts to keep our systems safe. With member support for this item, we will take the estimate for Subhead A007GX and incorporate it into Capital Works Reserve Fund Head 710. And then the proposal will go ahead to the Public Works Subcommittee and the Finance Committee for scrutiny. We hope members will support this block allocation application. Thank you, Undersecretary. 40 members are waiting to speak. Here's the order of speaking. Mr. Ray Wong, Mr. Kenneth Fok, Mr. Tang Fei, Mr. Chen Xiuhong, Professor William Wong, Mr. Lam Chen-sing, Mr. Wen Kit, Mr. Brave Chen, Dr. Alvin Lee, Mr. Robert Lee, Ms. Grace Chen, Mr. Augustine Wong, Mr. Albert Chuang, followed by Mr. Nick Chan. 14 members are waiting to speak. We have only 1 hour for the meeting, so I will be rigorously enforce the 4-minute time limit. If your questions go on for too long, I will ask the Bureau to give you a written reply instead, so please be mindful of the time. Mr. Ray Wong. I commend the government on slashing the number of projects from 1,125 to 684, and we're also getting fewer new projects. And this points to the gatekeeping from the DPO. We're getting fewer projects, but we can do better in using resources. Here are some concerns and also some suggestions. First, we need to concentrate resources. The police force and the fire services department each applied for funding to develop their own AI chatbots. We're using the same underlying architecture. Instead of getting each department to reinvent the wheel from scratch, why can we not have the DPO develop a centralized engine, and that would be accessible to all departments? We can calibrate the system once that is in place. We see government consultations all the time. Can we have a general purpose questionnaire platform so that we can save money and we can have the system available sooner? I'm looking at NXP. Most projects are priced at $19.9 million, and this has to do with the buildings department and other departments. Paragraph 17 says that any project over $20 million will require scrutiny from the Finance Committee. The Financial Secretary urged cautious optimism, so we should be compressing our expenses so that we save where we can and spend where we must. First, and then on I Am Smart, I see attempts to incorporate services into I Am Smart. I am all for smart government services. But these projects cost more than $10 million just for the incorporation. Can we have standardized application programming interface or standardized modules so that we have cheaper ways? Can we have something like plug and play so that we can integrate services into a platform at a lower cost? Now, we need to keep control over the source code. We are contracting out so many projects. We have to make sure the contract expressly provide for government control over the source code. We are afraid of being trapped with vendors. With control over the code, we will be able to upgrade our system. We will be in a better bargaining position, and that will save maintenance costs. Thank you. Undersecretary. I will give a brief reply to the various questions. We are of one mind with the member. This means when a central platform will do for several projects and resource consolidation can boost resource efficiency, that will form a key criterion in our approval. Mr. Ray Wong mentioned developing AI chatbots under various projects. Different AI technologies are used to make public services accessible. That's what we encourage. I want to highlight one point. We have rolled out a chatbot as a service initiative. So this is a shared chatbot architecture. On this platform, there is ready-made code. There are ready-made modules such as natural language processing, knowledge base, etc. Our efforts have helped different departments to build 21 chatbots. If new projects can benefit from this architecture, we will require those departments to use the central platform. Mr. Ray Wong also brought up forms. The DPO has also built a system. It's a central form system. That platform has allowed various departments to use that platform to host and process more than 900 forms. On the price tag of $19.9 million associated with so many projects, there are 136 new projects. Nearly 40% of such projects are below $10 million. 55% of the projects are $12 million or less. 30% or 136 projects. 30 of the 136 projects are $19.9 million or above. Our guiding principle is to rigorously vet every single project. We look at the project details, the implementation plan, the priority, the estimate, and whether that project will make the most of our centralized platforms, whether there are similar projects from other departments, whether there are similar business processes involved. If there are such similar processes, then we will require consolidation to achieve synergy. We will look at cost effectiveness and quantifiable benefits, so the member can be rest assured that we will keep an eye on each and every project. And we will not allow the splitting of bigger projects into smaller installments. And we will urge consolidation rather than splitting. For I Am Smart, we will be acting as the gatekeeper. We have the professional expertise and experience. We will be able to tell the amount of sums needed for different kinds of projects.
嗰個會唔會優化？
Are you going to improve the I Am Smart and will you control the source code? Thank you. Well, there are many functions to I Am Smart. We have standardized API for departments and bureaus, and we also open it up for corporations to include their services in the I Am Smart for people to use. We will expand our sandbox to more departments and interested private companies to take part in it. Thank you. Next, Mr. Kenneth Falk. Thank you. Just now, the Undersecretary said that 47% of projects were rejected. I'm glad to see that the DPO is playing the gatekeeping role and saving us money. However, I'd like to ask why so many projects were being rejected. Is there particular departments who have many projects not being approved by the DPO? Is it because the government does not have sufficient financial resources for these projects? I don't want us to go for technology for the sake of it. I don't want government departments and bureaus propose digital projects just because it's a trendy thing. Is it why we have such a high rejection rate? Do we have professional IT personnel in our government departments? Are they capable of deciding whether the projects were worth going for so that the workload of DPO would not be such high? Undersecretary, thank you. Just now, the member raised a very important point. The DPO is professional in their scrutiny of projects proposed, and we are seeing results. When we vet the projects, well, DPO looks at the bigger picture. We look at the department's nature before we approve of a project. As DPO looks at the entire government, so they will be able to identify similar projects. That's how DPO plays their role. There are some projects that can leverage on centralized platform, such as the AI tools that we already have, and API, e-forms, big data analytic platforms, blockchain platforms, modules that were already available. And when we see that, we let the relevant departments and bureaus know of it so that they can withdraw their projects so that they don't have to create their own platform afresh. Let me give you some example. Over the past 2 to 3 years, there were departments that ask for digital signature for their documents. When we looked at their projects and the API, we are of the view that there are already tools available for them, and we asked them to withdraw their projects. There are departments that ask for centralized data storage platforms, and as we already have such a repository available, so we asked them again to withdraw their projects. As you can see, we look at all the details. Last year, there were 300 odd new projects. Within this year, we are only having 136 new projects. That's a drop of 40%. With our strict gatekeeping, we believe that all the new projects will be ones of value and cost effectiveness. I think that communication is key. It doesn't, well, with the high withdrawal rate, I think that we have to look into the submissions to see if there's a problem. Next, Mr. Tang Fei. Thank you. Many government departments and bureaus have been proposing computerization and digitalization projects. I wonder if we have any technology to distinguish between, well, whether it's better to use AI or blockchain. See, for example, item 57, development of teacher registration and practicing certificate platform of $10.3 million. Are we talking about a traditional platform that allow people to upload information and documents for the government to vet? Or is it a platform that will issue e-certificates? So what kind of platform is this? And I wonder if the ITIB and DPO will offer professional advisory services to decision-making bureaus. Wonder which account will the amount or sum goes to, or will the sum goes to individual departments and bureaus? If the $2.78 billion will go entirely to the DPO, then your balance will be huge. So these are my two questions. First, will you offer technical advisory service? Second, where the sum of funding will go to? Thank you. According to the Education Bureau, the platform from the Education Bureau will be used to process application for teacher registration and practicing certificate. We will look into the technology involved and the process, and whether specific technology is involved in their platform. I believe that there are many registration systems within the government. The DPO will offer them advice. We'll look into whether we can use AI to assist in the vetting process. Maybe teachers, when they make their registration, they can make use of IM Smart to save time. After the funding proposal is granted, the sum will go to the accounts of individual departments and bureaus. We have a project governance office to look into the income and expenditure of every departments and bureaus. Next, Mr. Chan Xiu-Hong. Thank you, Chairman. We scrutinize the block allocation to look into the projects of different departments in bureaus that accelerate digital transformation and government services. I support it. The Undersecretary briefed us of the projects. According to paragraph 8, it is said that we only have 136 new projects in 2026-27. That's because the TPO have stepped up scrutiny and evaluation of the outcomes and quantifying benefits of proposals. I'm glad that the government has taken on board my suggestion. That is, they have consolidated platforms and systems of similar natures among bureaus and departments to leverage on existing resources. Even when the block allocation is approved by the Finance Committee, we're only having 136 new projects. Apart from that, we also have ongoing projects. Even after the 136 projects been approved, they will still be subject to further scrutiny by the DPO and Legislative Council. I believe that you have other means to make sure that the estimates granted will be used effectively. And I wonder if there is such an internal monitoring system. Among these new projects, many of them share common wordings. Say, for example, I am smart in-app browser. I hope that, all these projects are not just about installing an in-app browser of I am smart. I hope that is just one of the functions of the project. I hope that the departments is not just installing or including a login page on their application. Item 45, the Department of Health is implementing an online pre-registration and questionnaire system. And I see similar projects on the list. I think that if the departments is just, say, changing the data or information on the system, on the questionnaire system, why do we have to spend, say, $10 million on it? Thank you. Undersecretary. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chan. We have collected views from the members, say, for example, asking us to enhance cost effectiveness and consolidate different projects of similar nature. Our project estimates can sustain any questioning and challenges. We do have an internal monitoring system. Will play the gatekeeping role. As I said, there are two stages to the approval of a project. First of all, the decision-making bureaus will have to approve the projects of the departments, and they will have to come to us for scrutiny. We will look at the project's details from 9 different areas. And we ask the project proponent to submit to us a progress report and their cash flow. This is how we make sure that they realize what they committed in their project proposal. Very often, project proponent put a contingency item in their proposal. Over the past 5 years, according to our experience, there are 1,500 projects altogether. Ultimately, only 120 projects spent their contingency funding. Ultimately, we only approved 114 projects make use of their contingency estimates that account for only 10% of the total number of projects approved. We'll monitor the progress of the projects, the cash flow, and the details. Mr. Chen asked about the questionnaire system. We already have 900 questionnaires that make use of our centralized system. This is how we have enhanced cost effectiveness. Regarding IM Smart in-app browser, we'll look into the cost of the plugin. However, some departments may already have certain systems in place. However, due to specific business process, legal requirements, the cost of installing such a plugin may be different. So we have to have regards to the specific circumstances of individual departments and bureaus in helping them incorporating IM Smart into their systems. Sometimes departments have to upgrade their system before they can plug in the IM Smart. Thank you.
Professor William Wong. Thank you, Chairman. My question has to do with developing and applying artificial intelligence. During development, do we adopt AI engineering standards to make sure there's transparency, reliability, and traceability in the process? Do we do that? My second question is, do we set aside money for process re-engineering? This is about enhancing the government's operational efficiency. My third question is system refresh. There's a mini program platform for I'm Smart. It will incorporate existing apps. So when we migrate the apps and when we eliminate the old apps, do we have a procedure? Do we have a timetable we follow? Finally, on information security, have we considered AI security on top of cybersecurity? 4 questions. Undersecretary. I thank Professor Wong for his questions. Part 1 of his question has to do with AI development. On project management and standards, we do take into account these features. For a digital government, we encourage departments to use new technologies, and that includes using AI to make life easier for people and businesses. Over the past few years, we have encouraged the use of AI-based solutions. The Digital Policy Office has issued a number of guidelines, such as there's a departmental guideline for the use of AI, there's an AI ethics framework, we have an application guideline for the use of generative AI. These guidelines cover best practices and also points to note. In formulating these standards, we have considered different standards, such as ISO 40001, our national country standards, and other standards. Those standards cover the whole life cycle of AI projects, from project inception, development, and also deployment. We do have this protocol in place. Professor Wong also brought up process reengineering. This is an area of focus. The policy address proposed an AI efficacy enhancement team. So that is a key area of work for the team. On migrating the apps, with the DPO's efforts, we want to boost cost effectiveness. We also want to improve users' experience, and this applies to the general public. We used to have more than 100 government apps. Now it's down to 65. We also have to exercise oversight, and this means we have issued guidelines. When departments and bureaus want to develop a new app, that department will need to get the green light of their own head of department and also the approval from the DPO before proceeding. Otherwise, no bureau or department cannot develop a new standalone mobile app independently of IM Smart. Now that we have the mini program platform on IM Smart, it's operational. So in the next 2 years, roughly 30 government apps will be removed as standalone apps. But we cannot take a broad brush approach. HA Go, for example, has a specific group of users, and the app is linked to many public services. It has value, so we have to carefully assess all the factors to improve people's experience. Cybersecurity is a key consideration. This applies to all projects. This is an essential requirement. Thank you. I will have to declare an interest. I am the deputy leader of the AI Advocacy Enhancement Team, Mr. Lam Chun-Sing. My questions have to do with merging certain projects. The DPO has a project on enhancing cybersecurity infrastructure and also the government's cybersecurity monitoring center. Other departments have similar projects, and this applies to our disciplined services. Of course, we can allow projects of distinctly different natures, but if you have similar projects, can we merge those projects? Can we pursue joint development? Will that bring down costs? Of course, when you merge projects, then each project will cost more than $20 million, and then the proposal will have to go to the FC. But if those joint projects promise long-term benefits, wouldn't that be better than having a bunch of standalone discrete projects so you don't get a full list of projects, each costing $19.9 million. So I'm focusing on the benefits. The Bureau said it shelved 47% of the new project. The Undersecretary gave us the reasons. So this came down to stricter gatekeeping. So some designs were not that well established, or maybe there was simply a herd mentality in adopting new technology. That's why we shelved some projects. But some projects are doing very well, and they are much needed. But there's a limit on the funding that can be granted. I'm not saying that we will, as a matter of course, turn down applications when you go above the limit. If projects promise greater cost effectiveness and make the services more user-friendly, we can roll out those services. Do we have such projects? If we do, can we put those projects back on the list so that the projects can go through approval and reach the rollout phase? So first, will there be consolidation? And second, will there be a cap on funding? Undersecretary, I want to start with taking the second question. The first question will be addressed by Mr. Daniel Chung. The question was whether the funding cap barred certain projects. That is not the case. The DPO strictly vets projects. The DPO is meticulous in its approach, and this has member support. The key factor is to ensure projects contribute to public well-being. We want our projects to make life easier for people and businesses. We want to boost the government's efficiency through projects. So when a project has merit, it will proceed, and we do encourage such projects. Some projects may come with a larger price tag, then it's fine for those departments to proceed with a more costly project. We can provide assistance. more resources may be warranted. In that case, the project can take an alternative path. They don't have to take this path of the block allocation. That project can come to logical as an independent proposal. But we have to uphold the principle. If the project has merit, if it improves people's lives, if it can boost government efficiency, that project should go ahead. The DPO is here to strengthen coordination. We want to promote more projects that adopt technology to improve the people's experience. On the other question, Mr. Daniel Cheng will take the question that we do not split bigger projects into smaller installments. The established procedure is tried and tested. We have to make sure the projects are appropriate before we give the approval. When some projects require more funding, then consolidation may be required. If there's room for lowering the project cost, we will require the applicant to trim the cost. We apply uniform standards. So we will not allow splitting projects. So now I give the floor to Mr. Daniel Cheng. Thank you. On project 56, this has to do with the strengthening of information security infrastructure and integration with government-wide security operations center for bureaus and departments. Each department has its own security operations center. They have the infrastructure in place. Still, for intelligence and notification of the security posture, we see the need for a centralized approach, a centralized body to oversee the security posture of the entire government. So this SOC is different from other SOCs at the departmental level. This is a system at level 3 at the highest level. In those cases, we set up centralized monitoring centers, so that's the case for this project. Next, Mr. Woon-Kit. The Digital Policy Office is in charge of promoting projects about digital government and smart city. In 2026 to 27, there will be 136 projects. How will these projects reflect the spirit that we want to improve people's lives and make life easier for businesses and also enhance single portal for government services? We're getting fewer new projects. How will the DPO ensure that we will not slow down in digital transformation? So this is about smart city. Under Secretary, please. Single portal for government services is a major direction of travel for us. The DPO is working to set up various centralized platforms. This includes I Am Smart, digital corporate identity, and also consented data exchange gateway, as well as blockchain and big data analytics platforms. These platforms will allow departments to share data. Of course, this will happen with users' consent. We will also work through I Am Smart and the future digital corporate identity to deliver services that will give people single access, a single portal access to all services. Now, some figures. Every year, I Am Smart sees 4 million registrations. In terms of usage, there are over 180,000 visits to I Am Smart every day, and there are licenses and certificate features on I Am Smart. People may want to check how their applications are going with the funds. They can do so through I Am Smart. It will also require departments to step up their efforts about I Am Smart. Through digital corporate identity, registration of companies and business signatures can also take place through that platform. That's why we encourage departments to plug their services into these platforms so that when people access these platforms, they will see everything at one place and they will have single portal access to all the services. That's our direction of travel.
跟住請陳容儀。
Mr. Chen Yong. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Cheng and the two commissioners for being here. I use IM Smart all the time. I find it very useful. I have some questions. How can we make use of IM Smart to log on to the EMPF platform to make sure that it's safer? And how does DPO make use of AI to upgrade the IM Smart? Second, I'd like to ask about the low altitude economy. Well, the CEDD will make use of $15 million to develop a platform to support low altitude economy, and the Land Department will make use of $12 million to develop a similar thing. Well, on the platform, on the mainland, they have one platform that is shared among different departments. I think that if we can consolidate the two low altitude economy platforms, then we can get a better price from the contractors. Will the department help these two departments consolidate their platforms to support low altitude economy so that it's more cost effective? The EMPF is an item for the agenda of the next meeting. You can answer the questions on IM Smart and the questions regarding the Lands Department. I will ask the Commissioner to answer the question. On consolidation of data platforms, well, we often ask departments to look into what systems they have. Like I mentioned, we have Digital Court ID platform, and we have standardized API on the platform for sharing of data among different departments and bureaus. We will make use of the same platform to promote sharing of data among departments for the purpose of low altitude economy development. Now, after spending some $2.78 billion, how much more efficient are we in sharing data? Undersecretary, thank you. I understand that the members of the public expect quantifiable benefits from the IT projects that we roll out. We ask the applicant departments and bureaus include in their applications what quantifiable benefits individual proposals can achieve. Just now, I talked about the project of DPO that to strengthen information security information, which can save us a non-recurrent expenditure of $12 million. Say, for example, the police have a project to record their patrols and patrol cars that allow real-time transmission of logs and data. The police force said that they can save 33 man-months, and these are 2,537 of such man-months. And the Highways Department also is going to develop a project to replace manual entry of data. They can save 6 clerical staff members and $2.6 million per year. LCSD has a project to upgrade their tree management system. After having such a system, they don't have to go through this many manual inspection of trees, and that can save them some 170 man-months. Mr. Chen just mentioned a low altitude economy. According to the department's application form, CEDD said that they are going to develop a project to develop a system to make use of digital twin to monitor the status of their facilities, and that can save them some $30 million of non-recurrent expenditure. And the EMSD said that they're going to develop a system making use of AI to inspect the status of lifts and escalators. With the portable cameras, they can be notified if there is any abnormalities with their facilities, and that can save them of $8 million of patrols and inspections of their consultants. We have not approved of all of the projects, but from their proposals, we can see the quantifiable benefits of these projects. Next, Mr. Alvin Lee. I thank the efforts of the DPO, and I support the funding proposal. I have one suggestion and one question. Computerization is just a tool to make things more convenient for the people and the business. We have 136 new projects, and the list is in Annex B. I think that we should include the purpose of the project on the list. Are the projects to enhance security? Are the projects to make things more convenient for people and the business? I think if we include the purpose of the project, that will facilitate public's and our understanding of the projects. I have a question. Well, 40% of the project are on enhancing operational efficiency. On maintenance and upgrading of system, what are they about? Is training of staff included in the estimates of the project? 2 questions. Undersecretary, I'll ask the Commissioner to answer the question. Thank you. On your first suggestion, we will look into it. The nature of different projects vary, and their goals are different. We will try to categorize the projects into different, ones with different goals or purposes. Second, you asked about the details of the project. Well, the estimates will cover engagement of consultant developers, consolidation of systems. All these services may need to be outsourced to contractors by the departments. Thank you. There are 6 members who would like to speak. I will extend the meeting, and I will draw the line after Mr. Robert Lee's spoken. Thank you. On the block allocation of new administrative computer systems 2026-27, I support it. I have a question that is similar with that of Mr. Kenneth Fogg. In the first 9 months of 2025-26, among 841 projects, 399 have been shelved upon assessment by the DPO. I am very much concerned about this. You don't have to answer it, but I just want to make sure that resources will not go to waste. Second, I need a question for this. Well, I need an answer for this question. The DPO asked departments and bureaus to make use of centralized platforms. I am smart and digital corp ID platform to facilitate data sharing and cross-departmental services. How do we make sure that there is smooth sharing of data among departments? Many financial institutions, when they open their accounts for their customers, they rarely make use of Corp ID platform. When we have a precious metals clearing system, then we can encourage them to make use of the digital Corp ID platform because their customers may need to open an account with their banks. If they make use of the platform, that will facilitate the entire process. Thank you. Undersecretary on data sharing, please. Thank you. I agree with what you said. So one of the platforms we have is the Consented Data Exchange Gateway. We don't just have I Am Smart. And by the end of this year, we're going to roll out Digital Corp ID platform. The Consented Data Exchange Gateway is a platform to facilitate exchange of data of the members of the public among departments as long as they give consent to such a sharing. The IRD, the Lands Registry, can collect data of the members of the public through this gateway. If a company wants to register their business, they can log on to their I Am Smart account and make use of their Digital Corp ID. They may be pre-filled information. They can also change any data of theirs on the platform. And that's how we achieve a single portal for online government services. The CDEG is a platform that has already been connected to a private platform. That is to say, if businesses and members of the public want to open an account with their banks, they can make use of the Consented Data Exchange Gateway. And that's how the private companies collect data from or information from the members of the public. Since its launch, we have processed 34 million exchanges, and every month we process 2 million exchanges per month. In the future, we're going to further support financial institutions in checking information of land titles and businesses. If there are any new kind of service that you think we should incorporate into I'm Smart Digital Corp ID platform or Consented Data Exchange Gateway, please let us know. We reach out to different departments and bureaus to ask them to connect include services. Thank you.
大家今日係
The Undersecretary has answered all the questions, but I want to remind all members that we are discussing the block allocation today. When you want to discuss usage, let's save your questions for the next meeting when we will discuss the usage, the application of I'm Smart. Ms. Grace Chen, in principle, I support the proposal in the paper today. I want to ensure just one point. For future papers, can we make sure that all our projects are in line with the global accessibility standards? This is to make sure all the apps will be accessible to everyone. So this is about accessibility standards. How do we follow those standards? The DPO has been promoting accessibility standards. All government websites follow the latest standards in this regard. We also have industry partners. Those partners promote these standards as well. Our goal is to apply these standards to all websites. Any follow-up question? No. Mr. Augustine Wong. Like other members, I support this funding proposal. Can we make better use of central platforms? I'm looking at paragraphs 4, 9, and 11. These paragraphs refer to central platforms, cloud computing, and data interchange, data exchange. I support all that. Can we have a more detailed discussion of how we use the central platforms? That will give us greater clarity in future discussions about the funding proposal. I have a question about the mini programs. So if the funding is approved, then different departments will proceed with the programs. How do we ensure quality? In the community, there are freeware or apps available on other apps, other platforms. It turns out that our apps are not as good as the free apps available. Let's take a look at item 110. My Map Hong Kong. This is a standalone project. So you can see the traffic condition. But once your car moves, that app does not show the dynamic information. So there are better apps for free in the community, so people will not want to use this government app. So we have to make sure our apps are at least as good as the apps available in the community. Otherwise, you don't get the bang for the buck. So the first question has to do with central platforms, and second, comparison between government apps and commercial apps. Mr. Daniel Chung, please. We're trying to promote the mini program platform on I'm Smart. This is because we want to take a standardized approach to the experience for the public when it comes to government apps. We have worked with different departments on the usage and the success of different departmental apps. We looked at room for integration and different ways of presenting information in those apps. We are in active discussions with those departments. For that reason, we slashed the number of government apps from more than 100 to 65. In the fourth quarter last year, we rolled out the mini program platform. For roughly 30 apps, meaning roughly half of the total, we will introduce a standard interface that will obviate the need for people to download tons of different apps, and that will also make maintenance easier for departments, and we will proceed with the work. Mr. Augustine Wong also mentioned usability. So you have to make your app attractive enough for people to use, so please take that into account. That's for the DPO. We will consider this factor. One factor we consider in assessing apps is users' experience. I believe members will agree that I Am Smart now offers much better experience after optimization. We have put work into that. I hope that departments can put people first. They should focus on the user experience in what they do. Mr. Albert Chuang. Thank you. I support the funding proposal. Here are my questions. First, for this funding application, the funding amount goes up by 10%, but there's a 40% fall in the number of projects. Why? Is it because some projects cost more now? So after the DPO secures the funding for departments and then the projects are completed, the departments will maintain the operation of those apps. So will the DPO continue to send staff to help those departments to operate the apps? If new costs arise from the manpower running those apps, will the costs be borne by the DPO? And I'm looking at item 30 in Annex B. There's a project under the CEDD. It's about implementation of blockchain-enabled smart contracts for digital work supervision. I support that. Smart contract will save much manpower. Has the DPO assessed each project for the cost savings for each project? Can we get a sense of the savings so that there can be a point of reference for different departments to follow? I think the question about cost effectiveness was answered, and the Undersecretary has the floor. On the first part of Mr. Chuang's questions, this proposal comes with fewer projects, but the funding amount goes up. One major factor is that there are projects close to completion, and they make up 84% of all the projects here, meaning more than 8 out of 10 projects here are close to completion. Last year, this figure was only at this funding was only about $2 billion. Now we're at $2.3 billion, and this refers to the money needed for projects close to completion. When you're closer to completion, the cash flow requirements go up, and that's the primary reason for the bigger amount involved. New projects will require $450 million, comparable to last year. We see fewer new projects this year. Why does the sum remains more or less the same despite fewer projects? Here's why. For the 136 new projects, we have a straight timeline. 89% of the 136 projects, or 86% of the 136 projects, will be 1 year or 2 year projects. 10% of the projects will be completed within 1 year. Because of the tight schedule, cash flow requirements will come up sooner, and that accounts for the higher amount. And what about post-completion support? The Commissioner can take that question. Mr. Daniel Return. Thank you. We strengthened project management for each department last year. For the rollout, we required stress tests and also cybersecurity reviews. And once the app is live, we keep an eye on the apps. When the need arises, the DPO, with its experience in implementing INT projects, will be invited to sit on different panels to give advice. On plans to refresh apps, the DPO also offers advice, and we will keep up this effort. 2 more members are waiting to speak. I will extend the meeting for another 10 minutes. Mr. Nick Chan. I throw my full support behind this funding proposal. It's a $2.78 billion. Here are my questions. Has the Bureau considered procuring more local services? Will we support local scientific R&D in that way? Will that be reflected in the $2.78 billion? There is such a thing called no-code coding. So for the 136 new project, do we have guidelines on ethics governing the use of AI or no-code coding? Designing may be easy, but maintenance may be harder. Will we have guidelines on that? For the 136 new projects, 4 have to do with the judiciary. I do note the reminder from the chairman not to go into too much detail about this. We now have a robust digital economy and we have robust digital assets. Courts in different countries forfeit digital assets. Do we have ongoing projects that will help courts deal with forfeited digital assets? How do we keep those digital assets after forfeiture? So that's a new idea. On no-code coding and local procurement, the Undersecretary will take those questions. I will give a consolidated reply to the first 2 questions. On local R&D and services, our principle is for departments and bureaus to embrace new technologies. This will depend on the needs of different departments. I can give you some examples. The DPO has set up a Smart Government Innovation Lab. The DPO knows the operational needs of different departments. With that information, local tech startups or companies that have come here will be able to put their solutions on the platform, and then we match the needs with the solutions. We have done hundreds of matching sessions. So we have done technical workshops, we have held talks. That's to match solution providers with departments with their needs. So that's how we adopt new technology and also adopt solutions from the industry. And we also have the AI Plus directory. This catalog has a goal. There may be ready-made or off-the-shelf solutions, or maybe there are AI tools that can be applied for many purposes. We can use those tools and that will save time and money in software development. The use of AI is subject to protocols and codes of practice, meaning in my reply to Professor William Wong, I said that the DPO has issued a number of key guidelines, such as the guidelines on the use of generative AI for departments, ethics framework for AI, and also the use of AI in different scenarios. So we have the protocol in place covering planning, development, deployment, and usage. Technical guidelines would cover everything. On the new scenarios mentioned by the member, we encourage departments to identify the need on dealing with forfeited assets. I think that falls within the portfolio of the Security Bureau, so that shouldn't be discussed here. Mr. Lee Kuang-yu.
Thank you, Chairman. I have two suggestions regarding the block allocation. First, well, 40% of the projects are about digital government services. The administration said that the sum goes to our contractors. I hope that in the agreements with the contractors, I hope that we will include the clause on change management so that there will be a proper and suitable training for civil servants for them to make use of the service. The block allocation sum is huge and many different systems are involved. As mentioned by Mr. Wong, we need a good management. It's not just about IT, but also user experience. If the user experience of the new systems is worse than the current mode of doing things, then we should not recommend the vendor in the future. Some contractors may rename their company's name just to bypass the ban. We should include the names of the directors of the companies on the list. I think that the DPO should manage the list of contractors. Some contractors may include a lower price in their tender and offer service that is not up to par. We need to make sure that the projects are worth it and are of quality. Commissioner, please. Thank you. Large sum in the block allocation is for the contractors. That's true. You talked about this term change management just now. You also mentioned training for staff. This is crucial. This year, the government has been promoting AI, digital governance. We should adopt a top-down approach in our change management. We ask the contractors, when they're designing the flow chart, try to achieve change management coupled with training for staff. We will include such clauses in our contracts in the future. We have a standard offer agreement for our contractors. We monitor the progress of the projects and the performance of our service providers. And we will assess, after assessing the performance, we will make a record of it so that we can make reference to it when we engage them in the future. Thank you. That's it for the Q&A today. Members, do we support the administration submitting this proposal to the PWSC for scrutiny? Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Undersecretary Ms. Cheng and colleagues from the DPO for attending today's meeting. Any other business? There being no other business, meeting adjourned. Thank you.